Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with a really different project. This is something I'm going to do called My Nostalgia in Gaming. And the whole point of this is there are a lot of games that I'm ridiculously nostalgic about, and I'm going to play those games and tell you why I'm nostalgic about them, give you the specific stories behind them. I've done this a couple of times for some of the games that I've played, but I've not really gone in depth into them. But these are all things that really they've had an impact on me as a gamer and as a person, really, because they are things that I'm always going to sit here and look back on as something that, you know, shaped kind of who I am, shaped my identity in this way. So, with that, we are starting with Sonic the Hedgehog, the first game on the Sega Genesis. The reason why this game in particular gives me a level of nostalgia is because it is the first game I ever owned. The first game that I could ever say was mine. When I was younger, we had an Atari 26 and 7800, respectively, as I was growing up. They were not mine, they were my dad's, and they were meant to be shared between me and my brother. Same with Commodore 64. So, not my earliest memories in gaming, but this is the first that was mine. And that, it may not seem like a lot, but it was a very big deal to me. I do not remember how young I was when I got this. I have a picture of it I may actually put in the video. The Christmas I got a Sega Genesis, bundled with Sonic the Hedgehog. The thing about this was, so when we were younger, my parents had a rule when it came to Christmas. My brother and I were allowed to make our Christmas list, and this is way back before the internet, so we actually got like the Sears and Toys R Us catalogs. Things that, you know, it had to come to the house and we had to flip through and look for and see what we wanted. And the reason why I'm doing this now is because it's fall, and this time of year is when those catalogs were starting to hit. And I remember, you know, coming home from school and seeing, oh, the catalog's here, it's time for me to start thinking about what I want to do for Christmas. Because the whole concept of what we had to do was we had to basically budget our Christmas wish list. My parents gave us a $200 limit, and we could browse through any magazine or circulatory or anything like that, and as long as we cited where we got it from and how much it cost in that particular circulatory, and add it to our list. But we had a limit of $200, which meant we had to, you know, budget it ourselves. We had to figure out what we specifically wanted, what was worth getting, what was worth sacrificing. And that was how my parents taught us how to budget, basically. Like, what do you really want? And also taught us, you know, math. We had to account for things like sales tax and promotions and anything like that. So, you know, really good introduction to consumer economics from my parents. I thank them for that. And the year that this was the thing, I remember I was in elementary school. I think I was in 2nd grade. And I, you know, got this and was able to sit here and say, this is what I want. I want a video game system of my own. Well, I could choose either between the Sega Genesis or the Super Nintendo. And that year, in the Sears catalog, it was shown that the Genesis was packaged with a game, which was, you know, a big deal to a kid who had a very limited budget. Like, I had requirements that I had to meet. Like, if I had gone for the Super NES, I would not have been able to have gotten a game, because the Super NES by itself was my budget. It was $200. So I was sitting here trying to figure out, did I want to get the console and have to borrow games from friends who already had a Super Nintendo? Or did I want to get a Sega Genesis and come bundled with a game? And that was, you know, a tough decision as a kid. But I will never forget, for the months leading up to this, we had a journal in school that we had to write about specific prompts. Most of the time, as it got closer to the holidays, starting at Halloween, the prompts became just write whatever you want to write about, because the thing about this time of year in the US is we have 4 holidays basically in the span of 2 months. We've got Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then New Year's. So to a kid, you're just sitting here, you're trying to keep them focused on something. Good luck on that, is really all we had to say. And all of my writing prompts were talking about how I was, you know, trying to figure this out, and how I wanted to, you know, get the most bang for my buck as, you know, a consumer, really. And that was it. And I will never forget, you know, discussing with my parents I'm trying to figure out what to get. All of my friends locally had a Super Nintendo. So it was I could get the Super Nintendo but not have any games of myself, and at least until my birthday, which is in April, be completely dependent upon them to play games by borrowing games from them. Or I could get a Sega Genesis and be the odd man out, but have games of my own. Like, none of my friends at the time had a Sega Genesis, so it was a big deal. So I went with the Sega Genesis, got Sonic, and I will never forget that. Basically, from this point in time of the year, right before Halloween to Christmas, all I could focus on was Sonic. And the only picture I had, the only information I had on Sonic the Hedgehog was this picture from this little Sears catalog, which was a picture of Green Hill Zone with one of the Loop-de-Loops. And so I drew that in every single journal entry that I had that was not, you know, a pre-written prompt of just write whatever you want to write. It's like, I was focused on this beyond all imagination. And then I got the game, and it was really interesting because when I first got it, I was actually playing on a Commodore 64 monitor. I did not have a TV of my own. And there was a problem with it where the inputs for the Genesis would only display in black and white. Like, I had to get really creative and deal with the inputs to actually get it to display in color by at first we had to, you know, wiggle them and have them not completely in, and somehow that would get a connection to where they would be able to display color, or then wrap a little bit of tinfoil around it. I don't know if it was it was the monitor. I know it was the monitor because it worked on every other TV without any problems. So I knew it had to have been the input for the monitor. But anyway, I was blown away by the fact that all I had was that one picture, and then I got the game and I couldn't even play it in color for it took us several weeks to figure this out, and it didn't matter to me at all that I couldn't play it in color. It was still the most amazing game I'd ever played, being, you know, in black and white. And it was my first game. It was not a game that I didn't have to share it with my brother if I didn't want to. It was my game. My game. So this is, you know, it's not my first gaming memory. Like I said, we had other games and other consoles growing up that I will never forget playing. But in the grand scheme of things, the first game you buy as a gamer, it's one of those feelings. It's like, you know, a car enthusiast remembering or never being able to forget the first car they bought. Ooh, I'm trying to not talk about the game, like the actual gameplay, but I'm playing this live, and I always hated the special stage. But yeah, it was my first game. It was the first game that I could claim as mine. And as such, it's always going to have a very unique place in my heart and in my memory, because I will never be able to forget it. And I really hope, you know, I really hope that I can have been able to express this well in this video, because this is the point of the video, is to talk about things that, you know, have had a major impact on me as a gamer, and have you guys talk about games that had a major impact on your gaming history. So that's basically it. The gist of his Sears catalog, budgeting for Christmas, and becoming highly obsessed with a game that I only saw a picture of. That was my introduction to this game, and as such, gaming in general. I really don't think I would be as into this hobby and medium had it not been for my connection to this game. If I, you know, had not decided to go for a Genesis that Christmas, or decided to go for something else, I guarantee it would have been drastically different, and not necessarily bad had I gone for a Super NES, but different. So I do owe a lot of my existence and identity as a gamer and as a person in general to this game. So yeah, that's the first part of my gaming nostalgia. The first game I ever owned. I'm going to do more in the series, talking about specific games that have a nostalgic factor to the fall and winter months, relating to this time period in my life. Because, let's face it, as a kid, Christmas is pretty much, you know, biggest deal, and Christmas starts, you know, right before Halloween these days, so you might as well make that a thing. So I'm going to talk about other games, other systems that I got for various holiday events, how these games and memories have shaped my influence on gaming and in general. So that's basically it for this first part. I'll see you guys in the next part. See if you can guess what game I'll be talking about next. Because I guarantee you it's going to be... it's probably not going to be what you expect, really. So, I look forward to seeing in the comments if you guys have any guesses on it. I should also probably say it since I'm ending this video. Obviously, these are not going to be full playthroughs of all of the games themselves, obviously. A lot of these I have already played, and I've talked a little bit about in those Let's Plays, but I've never really been able to go in depth as to why they are special and important to me, because I try to, you know, focus on the game itself as well. So yeah, with that, I will see you guys in the next installment, and till then, later everyone.